Picture this: a cold, biting wind howls through the empty darkness, and the relentless crash of waves echoes against jagged rocks below. Above it all, a lone lighthouse stands, its beam slicing through the night like a desperate plea for connection in an endless void. But what if that isolation held something darker? Beyond being symbols of salvation for sailors, lighthouses have long been the reluctant witnesses to tragedies, secrets, and shadows that refuse to fade away. What sinister stories linger within their walls? What unseen forces might still watch over their flickering lights? Tonight, we delve into the chilling encounters reported at the Lighthouse Keepers Quarters, places where solitude and mystery intertwine. From whispers in the dark to vanished keepers and restless spirits, these stories are as haunting as the seas they overlook. But what is it about these lonely towers that makes them the perfect stage for the unexplained? Stay with us as we uncover the eerie tales that have cemented these historic beacons as a cornerstone of maritime legends and paranormal lore. Now turning to the life of a lighthouse keeper, imagine enduring days, weeks, or even months in complete isolation, surrounded by nothing but an endless expanse of sea. The solitude, while serene at first, could easily become suffocating. For many keepers, their entire world was confined to the cramped quarters of the lighthouse, where the walls seemed to press in closer with each passing storm. The architecture of these lighthouses often mirrored the starkness of their surroundings, tall, narrow, and cold. Each creak of the wooden floors, each whistle of wind through the cracks, seemed to amplify the loneliness, a constant reminder of their disconnection from the world beyond the horizon. The geography only heightened this sense of desolation. Perched precariously on rocky outcrops, distant islands, or sheer cliffs, these structures were designed to withstand nature's fiercest tempests, but they also became prisons of solitude for their inhabitants. This isolation, combined with the relentless rhythm of waves crashing below, created an almost hypnotic environment, leading some to believe it could alter a person's psyche. Is it any wonder, then, that such conditions became fertile ground for enigmatic tales, stories of strange noises, unexplained shadows, and even full-bodied apparitions haunting the quarters began to circulate among keepers, their families, and locals. The boundary between reality and imagination blurred, spurred on by the oppressive stillness of the lighthouse. Many believed the loneliness alone could summon forces beyond comprehension, while others were convinced that the very walls absorbed the anguish of those who lived and died there. As we continue, these chilling conditions where silence itself seems alive become the backdrop for some of the most unsettling encounters ever reported. Now turning to the infamous tale of the disappearing keepers of Eilean Mor, we venture to the remote Flannan Isles in Scotland, where a case from the year 1900 continues to haunt maritime history. Imagine, if you will, the unsettling discovery made by a relief crew arriving at the lighthouse just days after Christmas. The three keepers, Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur, had vanished without a trace. Upon entering the quarters, the scenes uncovered were as eerie as they were puzzling. Meals sat untouched on the table, as if the keepers had left in the middle of dining. The clocks had stopped, freezing time in a moment that no one could explain. Even their oilskins, heavy coats vital for protection against the harsh elements, remained hung neatly in place, suggesting they had braved the treacherous weather without proper attire, an unthinkable decision for men experienced with the perils of the sea. Investigators came across cryptic entries in the lighthouse logbook, adding a profoundly unsettling layer to the mystery. Marshall had written about severe storms battering the island, describing the fury of winds and waves with vivid detail. Yet there was something strange. The weather reports from that time indicated calm seas around the island. This apparent contradiction left many scratching their heads. The final entry, penned by MacArthur, reportedly read, "The storm is over, God is above all." But even this singular note raised more questions than answers. What storm, and why conclude with such a haunting reflection? Theories abound, ranging from the plausible to the otherworldly. Some suggest a rogue wave might have swept the men off the cliffs, while others propose that tensions from isolation erupted into violence, leaving two of the keepers dead and the third attempting to save himself in vain. Then there are whispers of something far more sinister. Could the men have fallen victim to a paranormal force, perhaps tormented spirits of shipwrecked sailors said to haunt the Flannan Isles? No definitive explanation has ever been found. The untouched meals, the abandoned coats, and the stopped clocks all stand as silent witnesses to a mystery that remains unsolved to this day, leaving us to wonder what truly happened on that desolate island. With this lingering enigma in mind, our journey takes us next to another lighthouse shrouded in spectral legends, the notorious St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida. Now turning to the spectral tales of the St. Augustine Lighthouse in Florida, we delve into a place where history and the supernatural seem deeply intertwined. This towering beacon, standing as a sentinel against the Atlantic Ocean, has long been a magnet for eerie encounters that defy rational explanation. Visitors and staff frequently report hearing phantom footsteps echoing through the spiral staircase, as if unseen figures are ascending or descending the narrow, winding steps. Even more chilling are the faint peals of laughter that seem to come from nowhere, often described as the playful giggles of children. Objects are known to move of their own accord, with tools mysteriously relocating and doors creaking open without a breeze to stir them. The air is thick with whispers of unseen presences, each moment building an ever-growing sense of unease for those who dare to linger. This haunting reputation is tied to an unspeakable tragedy that occurred in the 1870s during the construction of the lighthouse. The construction supervisor's two young daughters, along with another child, were playing near a wooden cart used to bring supplies to the site. Tragically, the cart broke free from its tracks and plunged into the water, taking the children with it. Despite frantic rescue attempts, the girls drowned, leaving behind a sorrow that seems to linger even now. It is believed that their spirits have imprinted upon the lighthouse, their laughter echoing in a place they once viewed as a playground. Paranormal investigators often claim that such tragedies leave behind emotional markers, drawing energy that manifests in unexplained phenomena. For the St. Augustine Lighthouse, its blend of historical significance and tragic loss has cemented its place as one of the most haunted lighthouses in America. But this is just one chapter in the chilling saga of lighthouse hauntings. Next, we travel to the West Coast to uncover the eerie history of East Brother Light Station in California, where an entirely different kind of spectral presence has been reported. As the next chapter of our journey unfolds, we find ourselves on the windswept shores of California, home to the East Brother Light Station. Perched on a small island in the San Pablo Bay, this lighthouse is both a historic landmark and a haven for those seeking a brush with the unknown. Built in the late 1870s, its purpose was to guide ships safely through the treacherous bay waters, but over the years, it has become a beacon for stories of the supernatural. Many who have stayed on the island describe an unnerving sensation of being watched, as if unseen eyes are tracking their every move. Cold spots, sudden and unexplained, are often reported throughout the keepers' quarters, even on warm summer evenings. These chilling experiences are said to be accompanied by fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures, silently drifting through the dimly lit halls. The history of the East Brother Light Station is not without its share of sorrow. In the 1890s, a lighthouse keeper met his untimely end under mysterious circumstances. While records of the exact cause remain elusive, his unexpected death has fueled speculation that his spirit never truly departed the island. Could he be the unseen presence that so many have felt lingering within these walls? Several witnesses have claimed to see a figure resembling a man in old-fashioned attire, standing near the lantern room, gazing out to sea before vanishing without a trace. Others recall hearing faint, muffled voices during the dead of night, as if an unseen conversation were unfolding just beyond earshot. One visitor recounted waking up to the sensation of someone gently brushing their shoulder, only to find themselves completely alone. Another described hearing the steady creak of footsteps on the stairs, growing closer and closer, yet no one ever appeared. Such encounters have become so frequent that the current caretakers of the lighthouse have come to accept these disturbances as part of daily life. Paranormal investigators who have ventured to the station often report high readings of electromagnetic activity, which they claim are telltale signs of spirits attempting to make their presence known. The East Brother Light Station stands as a striking juxtaposition of beauty and unease. By day, it is a serene reminder of a bygone era, a picturesque retreat surrounded by the rippling waters of the bay. By night, however, it transforms into a place of whispered legends and unexplained phenomena that leave even the bravest guests questioning the line between the natural and the supernatural. But the West Coast holds more than one keeper of dark secrets. Next, we journey to the formidable Tillamook Rock Lighthouse in Oregon, where the grim moniker of Terrible Tilly hints at a history steeped in tragedy and spectral encounters. Now turning to the chilling Tillamook Rock Lighthouse, ominously nicknamed Terrible Tilly, this solitary structure stands defiantly about a mile off the rugged Oregon coast. From the moment of its inception, Tillamook Rock was marked by misfortune. During its construction in the 1880s, treacherous conditions claimed the life of a surveyor, a grim prelude to the dark legacy that would follow. Once completed, the lighthouse served as a warning beacon to sailors navigating the perilous seas, but it quickly gained a reputation for more than just its ability to guide ships. Keepers stationed at Tillamook Rock often spoke of an oppressive, almost palpable sense of unease that seemed to permeate the air. Several reported encounters with shadowy figures that would appear and disappear without explanation, often accompanied by the faint sound of mournful whispers carried on the ocean breeze. The weathered walls of the lighthouse seem to hold secrets, as visitors have claimed to hear disembodied voices echoing through its desolate halls. On moonlit nights, some have described seeing a spectral figure standing at the edge of the rocky outcrop, gazing seaward as if awaiting a long-lost ship that would never return. The lighthouse's grim history deepened with its eventual decommissioning and transformation into a columbarium for cremated remains. It is said that the spirits of those interred within its walls may have joined the ranks of restless souls haunting this isolated sentinel. Tales from those who have dared to venture too close to Tillamook Rock speak of inexplicable cold drafts, the sensation of unseen hands brushing against them, and an overwhelming feeling of being unwelcome. Paranormal investigators have claimed that the almost constant buffeting of wind and waves seems to amplify the energy, creating an environment that is rife with supernatural activity. Terrible Tilly stands as both a monument to human resilience and a stark reminder of the forces beyond our understanding. With its tragic past and lingering specters, it continues to capture the imagination of those brave enough to face its mysteries. But the ghostly tales do not end here. As the journey continues, we cross the border to the rugged shores of Newfoundland, where the Lighthouse Keepers Quarters are said to be plagued by poltergeist activity and shadowy figures with stories of their own to tell. As the journey carries us to the rugged shores of Newfoundland, the air grows thick with foreboding. Here, amidst the relentless waves and jagged coastline, Lighthouse Keepers Quarters are said to be host to terrifying and inexplicable phenomena. Stories tell of furniture inexplicably being overturned in the dead of night, as though moved by unseen hands intent on chaos. Doors are known to slam shut without warning, startling even the most stoic of inhabitants, despite there being no wind to blame. Those who have lived or stayed here speak in hushed tones of shadowy figures appearing in the corners of dimly lit rooms, their presence felt long before their forms are glimpsed, and often accompanied by a bone-chilling sense of being watched. The local legends that swirl around these lighthouses often point to the tragic fates of shipwrecked sailors, whose lives were claimed by the merciless waters off the Newfoundland coast. It is said that these restless spirits, unable to find peace, may return to haunt the quarters where keepers have resided for centuries, their anguish and unfinished tales leaving an indelible imprint on the surroundings. Some accounts speak of voices whispering incoherent words, while others recount the mournful cries of the lost echoing through the night, a haunting reminder of countless lives extinguished far too soon. One particular tale tells of a lighthouse keeper who awoke to find every chair in the dining room pushed away from the table as if an unseen gathering had taken place while the household slept. Another recounted hearing persistent knocking on the outer walls of the quarters, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment, only to find no one outside when he braved the storm to investigate. Through the years, visitors and keepers alike have reported objects disappearing from one place and reappearing in another, the sensation of icy fingers brushing against their skin, and even fleeting glimpses of translucent figures walking the aged halls before vanishing into the ether. As these mysteries deepen, they weave a chilling connection between the living and the departed, blurring the lines between reality and the supernatural. Whether these occurrences are manifestations of grief, vengeance, or mere cries for acknowledgement, they stand as a testament to the power of the human spirit, or what lingers of it. While the truth behind these ghostly encounters remains as elusive as the spectral figures themselves, the tales continue to grow, passed down as warnings, or perhaps invitations, to those drawn to the enigmatic allure of these storied quarters. And yet, in the eerie stillness that lingers when the last whisper fades, one cannot help but wonder, is it solace they seek, or are they here to remind us of the fragile boundary between this world and the next? As the mystery deepens, journey onward to Seguin Island, where another unforgettable tale emerges, one of love, madness, and the haunting strains of phantom piano music that refuse to be silenced. Now turning to the windswept shores of Maine, the Seguin Island Lighthouse stands as a silent sentinel amidst the restless waves, a place where the haunting echo of a piano is said to linger in the air and in the minds of those who dare to visit. The tale begins with a lighthouse keeper who, seeking companionship in the solitude of this remote outpost, brought his young wife to share in the isolation. At first, life on the island seemed idyllic, but the unyielding silence and endless expanse of the sea began to take a toll on her fragile spirit. To ease her growing despondency, the keeper arranged to have a piano delivered to the lighthouse, hoping music might lift her spirits. The piano arrived, but with it came an unforeseen tragedy. The wife, unable to play more than a single tune, repeated the same melody endlessly, the notes reverberating through the quarters in an unrelenting loop. What began as an effort to bring joy soon spiraled into torment for the keeper, who found himself increasingly unhinged by the incessant repetition. Driven to madness by the relentless strain, he is said to have destroyed the piano in a fit of rage before turning his despair inward, ending both her life and his own. To this day, visitors and keepers of Seguin Island Lighthouse recount eerie experiences that seem to echo this tale of love turned to lunacy. The faint sound of phantom piano music reportedly drifts through the air, cutting through the howling wind and crashing waves, haunting those who hear it with its mournful and uncanny persistence. Some describe feeling an oppressive presence in the quarters, a heavy, unshakable sensation that something unseen is watching from the shadows. Others speak of inexplicable cold spots and fleeting glimpses of a figure, often in the corner of their vision, only to vanish when they turn to look. These occurrences leave one to ponder the lingering weight of isolation and grief, emotions so powerful they might pierce the veil between worlds. Is it the wife's sorrow that permeates the island, her tragic tune replaying eternally in the ether? Or is it the husband, tormented by his own actions, bound forever to the place where his life unraveled? While the spectral piano may never provide the answers, it serves as a chilling reminder of the brittle nature of the human mind when pressed by solitude and despair. With the tragic strains of Seguin Island's haunting melody still in the air, the journey continues as we navigate further into the mysteries that lie ahead. Our path now leads us to tales of modern-day encounters, where even in the present, the spirits of lighthouses persist, proving that the divide between the past and present is thinner than we might ever imagine. As the next chapter of our journey unfolds, we step into the modern era, where the past continues to whisper its secrets through the walls of historic lighthouses. Many of these storied structures have been repurposed into rental properties or meticulously preserved as historical museums, inviting visitors to step back in time while encountering the unexplained phenomena that seem to defy it. Take, for instance, the accounts shared by overnight guests at the Rose Island Lighthouse in Rhode Island. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied voices echoing through the silent halls, hushed whispers that seem to rise and fade without any discernible source. Some recount sudden drafts of icy air sweeping through their quarters on warm, windless nights, leaving them grasping for explanations that never come. In Michigan's Big Bay Point Lighthouse, now a charming bed and breakfast, guests have spoken of waking up to faint knocking sounds on their doors, only to find no one there. Others describe objects moving on their own, chairs creaking softly in unoccupied rooms, or the feeling of a hand brushing past them, though no one else is near. Even the keepers who tend these properties today have their share of chilling tales. One long-time caretaker of North Carolina's Bodie Island Lighthouse tells of doors opening and closing of their own accord, as if unseen residents are coming and going. In one particularly eerie incident at St. Simon's Island Lighthouse in Georgia, a group of visitors was startled by the sound of heavy boots ascending the spiral staircase, only to discover the tower completely empty upon inspection. Such encounters have become an integral part of the lighthouse experience, drawing thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts alike, each hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysteries that linger within these historic walls. It seems that, even amidst our modern world of reason and technology, these spectral presences refuse to be forgotten. They persist like echoes trapped in time, inviting us to question the nature of their existence. Are these the restless spirits of past keepers, tethered to the lights they so diligently maintained? Or are they imprints of history, moments so charged with emotion that they've left an indelible mark on these isolated beacons? As we consider these questions, our path now leads us deeper into the enigma, exploring the possibility that these encounters may not merely be hauntings, but guardianship from beyond the veil, extending a protective hand to those who venture into these timeless towers. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we venture into the fascinating notion of unseen guardians watching over these towering sentinels of the sea. There are countless stories passed down through the years suggesting that some lighthouse keepers may never have truly left their posts. Instead, their spirits are said to linger, bound by a sense of duty far stronger than death itself. These spectral figures, often reported by late-night visitors or even modern-day keepers, seem to transcend the realm of haunting, taking on an almost protective role. One such tale comes from the Pensacola Lighthouse in Florida, where a shadowy figure is often seen ascending and descending the spiral staircase late into the night. Witnesses describe the shape as moving purposefully, as if inspecting every corner, ensuring the structure is as it should be. Over time, locals and visitors alike have started to view this apparition not as an ominous presence, but as a diligent guardian, tending to the light just as it was in life. A similarly haunting, yet comforting story stems from the New London Ledge Lighthouse in Connecticut. Here, mariners have often reported the light operating in ways that defy the technology installed, illuminating paths through violent storms even when the mechanisms were confirmed to be off. Legends suggest that this is the handiwork of a former keeper named Ernie, who, as the story goes, tragically ended his life, but remains devoted to ensuring the lighthouse continues its essential mission. Perhaps the most heartwarming of these accounts comes from the night. A lost fishing vessel off the coast of Maine was reportedly guided to safety by a beam of light cutting through an otherwise darkened sky. The crew swore they saw a figure standing at the tower's railing, waving them toward shore. Yet, upon investigation, the lighthouse had been deserted for years, leaving behind only the chilling yet comforting possibility that someone or something had stepped in to fulfill the duty left behind. Reflecting on these stories, it becomes clear that the eerie encounters within lighthouses do not always inspire fear. For many, they evoke a strange sense of gratitude. The idea that these spirits may be more than restless presences, that they might remain tethered to the light out of an enduring sense of care and protection, transforms the narrative from one of terror to one of reverence. These guardians might not only watch over the structures they hold dear, but also extend their care to those lost at sea, offering an otherworldly hand to guide them to safety. Moving forward, the line between the supernatural and psychological becomes more intricate as we explore whether these eerie tales can be explained through science, or if there's something far beyond our comprehension. Now turning to the science behind these haunting tales, we find ourselves stepping away from the ghostly narratives and into the realm of reason and logic. Could it be that the eerie experiences reported in lighthouses are not signs of the supernatural, but rather manifestations of the human mind under extreme conditions? Consider the life of a lighthouse keeper: prolonged isolation, the relentless noise of the waves, and the oppressive silence of solitude, all working together to create the perfect environment for the mind to wander. Psychological studies suggest that extended periods of solitude can heighten one's imagination, making it easier to interpret ordinary stimuli as something extraordinary. A creaking floorboard, for example, might sound like footsteps in the dead of night when there is no one else around. Moreover, the unique acoustics of these sea-bound structures play their own tricks on the senses. The constant howling of the wind, combined with the crashing waves, can create strange reverberations that mimic whispers or distant voices. Even the architecture of the lighthouse itself, its spiraling staircases and enclosed spaces, can distort sounds, turning mundane noises into something seemingly otherworldly. Such settings make it easy for even the most rational person to feel like they are not alone, fueling tales of phantom footsteps or ghostly laughter. But beyond the auditory, there are also environmental factors to consider. Some lighthouses are known to sit atop large deposits of magnetized rock, which can interfere with a person's sense of direction or even induce mild hallucinations. This has been extensively studied in other locations where similar phenomena occur, suggesting that what we perceive as supernatural might sometimes have a very natural explanation. Then there is the interplay of light and darkness. The isolation of a lighthouse, surrounded by an endless expanse of water, is the perfect canvas for the mind's eye to paint its fears. Low light conditions and the flickering of lanterns or beacons can create fleeting shadows that seem to move on their own. The human brain, constantly scanning for threats, may interpret these shadows as a presence, even when none exists. Yet, science does not always offer clear-cut answers. For every story rooted in psychological or environmental explanations, there are countless others that defy logic. How do we account for the inexplicable activation of old light systems, or the accounts of multiple witnesses experiencing the same phenomenon at the same time? These are the mysteries that science struggles to address, leaving us teetering on the edge of belief and skepticism. So, while science can explain much about the eerie happenings in and around lighthouses, it cannot fully dispel the sense of wonder and fear that these stories inspire. Perhaps this is where the true allure lies, not in uncovering definitive answers, but in embracing the possibility that some things may forever remain beyond our understanding. As the boundaries of science and the supernatural blur, we are left to wonder, are we witnessing the limits of human perception, or are these lighthouses truly harboring secrets that defy explanation? With this lingering thought, we prepare to bring our journey to a close, reflecting on the dual nature of these timeless structures as both beacons of safety and harbingers of haunting mysteries. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we find ourselves standing at the edge of mystery and history, pondering the captivating duality of lighthouses. These towering structures, symbols of safety and guidance for countless sailors, also carry the weight of their shadowed past places where isolation, tragedy, and time seem to entwine. The stories we have explored remind us that lighthouses are more than their bright beacons cutting through the dark. They are keepers of secrets, bearing witness to both the resilience and fragility of those who once lived within their walls. From whispered footsteps in the dead of night to inexplicable disappearances, the tales tied to these locations offer a chilling glimpse into the unknown. Yet it is this very contrast that makes them so compelling. On one hand, they stand as timeless guardians, their lights a promise of safety to wayward travelers. On the other, their solitude and history create the perfect setting for stories of the supernatural. It is no surprise that these maritime sentinels continue to captivate our imagination, blending the comfort of their purpose with the haunting mysteries they seem to embody. What lingers is a question that may never be fully answered. Are these tales born from the human mind's deepest fears and desires, or do they reveal something far beyond our understanding? Are the flickers of light and shadow, the echoes of voices, and the sudden bursts of cold mere natural phenomena, or do they offer proof that the past may never truly be gone? As we leave these stories behind, we invite you to reflect on your own beliefs. Are these encounters stories of restless spirits longing to be heard, or simply the mind's way of filling the silence of isolation? Perhaps, dear viewer, you have your own experiences to share. We would love to hear your thoughts, your questions, and your own paranormal stories in the comments below. If these tales sent a shiver down your spine or sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another journey into the mysterious and unexplained. Thank you for joining us on this captivating exploration of lighthouses, beacons of both hope and haunting secrets. Until next time, stay curious and remember, sometimes the light we see is not just a guide, but a reminder of the shadows we cannot escape.